I need to take my sister to the hospital, so can you lend me some money? In the midst of a heavy snowstorm, my 8-year-old grandson walked to our house for an hour. He had his 2-year-old sister, who was running a fever, on his back. Both of them looked quite emaciated, but what are my son and his wife doing? As I was getting worried and trying to let my freezing grandchildren into the house, my husband yelled loudly. "There's no way I'm lending money." Seeing my grandson scared of my husband, I tried to scold him by saying, "You don't have to be so harsh." Yet, he ignored me and took an even more shocking action. My name is Megan, a 60-year-old housewife. I was living peacefully with my 65-year-old husband, Anthony. We have a son named Michael, who got married and left home 10 years ago. He has 2 kids, 8-year-old Alexander and 2-year-old Lily, who are the apple of our eye. Anthony and I always looked forward to their visits. However, something odd started to happen with Michael 3 months ago, and the atmosphere changed. Michael has always been careless, even when he lived at home, accumulating laundry and being somewhat sloppy. To make matters worse, Michael's wife, Lisa, also seemed to struggle with housework. When I visited their house right after they got married, clothes were strewn everywhere, and the place was always a mess, with no space to even step. I wonder if these two can manage after having kids. But 10 years later, when they visited, the kids were both very energetic, and especially Alexander was quite mature for his age, which reassured me. Then, this happened. Michael came over with the grandchildren. Alexander is such a good boy, always helping out with the chores. It's really a relief he's not much trouble. Oh, that's good to hear. It's a relief he didn't take after his father. What do you mean by that? I smiled warmly at him, who tried to joke a little. But even though Alexander is mature, he's still only 8 years old. I worried about the burden on him due to his parents not being able to manage household tasks. "Grandma, can I have some pocket money?" Sure. I need to reward such a good boy for always helping your mom and dad." I was about to give him a $10 bill, but then Michael swiftly grabbed my wallet. "Hey, Michael? What are you doing?" No. He's the first grandchild, you gotta splurge more. $10 is nowhere near enough. He took a $100 bill from the wallet himself. And such incidents happened several times until finally, Anthony got furious and scolded Michael. But this was not good at all. Anthony has a scary and stubborn personality. The grandchildren were already afraid of him, and when Anthony yelled at Michael with a terrifying look, they became scared to visit us. In the end, the last time I saw my grandchildren was 3 months ago. Since then, only Michael occasionally comes to visit us, but he always demands pocket money for the grandchildren. Why don't you let us see them? If you miss them that much, why don't you use video calls or something? Oh, right, you're not good with that stuff, Mom. Michael snickered mockingly. But what he said was true, and we, the elderly couple, couldn't even use the internet. It's about the money. Where's your wallet? He was only concerned about the pocket money for the grandchildren, rummaging around. I sighed in dismay. The wallet is in the safe. I've taken measures so you can't just take money without permission. Huh? What's that about? Fine, then, forget it. With that, Michael left abruptly. Realizing he had been coming for the money all along left me with mixed feelings. Even so, with his expensive-looking watch and gold necklace, he was dressed quite lavishly. I wonder if he's really living within his means. Ever since getting married, Michael has developed a taste for extravagance and nouveau riche tendencies. He's employed at a company dealing with children's products, and I've heard he earns a decent salary, but even so, his expenditures don't seem to match up. As I was pondering over this, Michael stopped coming to our house altogether. 3 months later, on a night of heavy snowfall, we heard someone ringing our doorbell. Hello? Alexander? What's going on? Standing at the front door was Alexander, with Lily on his back. Lily's got a fever. I need to take her to the hospital, so can you lend me some money? Both were in a dire state, their clothes tattered and their appearances gaunt. The thought of Alexander walking all this way in the heavy snow with Lily on his back left me dumbfounded. How did things come to this? What on earth are Michael and Lisa doing? Confused but worried, I was about to let my pale and freezing grandchildren into the house when Anthony shouted. "There's no way we're lending money." At that moment, Alexander flinched. He was completely terrified of Anthony's furious demeanor. "Now's not the time for that, dear." Just as I was about to scold Anthony for saying such harsh words, he rushed to Alexander and suddenly hugged him tightly. Both Alexander and I were so surprised by this sudden action that we were speechless. "It's not about lending you the money. If you want it, we'd give you everything, and we want you to rely on us for that." "You're not angry, dear?" I'm shaking with anger at those foolish parents. But there's no way I could abandon my grandchildren in such a terrible state. While hugging the painfully thin grandchild, Anthony began to sob. He might be stubborn and easily misunderstood, but he truly loves Alexander and Lily from the bottom of his heart. Soon after, we took Lily to the hospital. After being examined by the doctor, her condition wasn't severe, and her fever soon subsided, allowing us to return home that same day. Back home, as the relieved Alexander watched Lily, who had quickly fallen asleep, we decided to ask him what had happened. The truth we heard from him left both Anthony and me in shock. Dad and Mom always leave the housework and Lily's care to me, and then go off somewhere. I do everything from washing dishes to cleaning the bathroom and the toilet. That's terrible. Do you know where they go during that time? I don't know. But Mom comes back with lots of expensive-looking bags, and Dad always comes back smelling of delicious food. From Alexander's story, it seemed likely Lisa was splurging on designer bags. And it also seemed that the couple was dining out alone. They probably weren't even preparing proper meals for their children. So that's why you're so thin. Anthony gently stroked Alexander's arm. Dad said we're like a cash cow to him. Anthony and I were shaken by Alexander's unexpected words. He takes videos of us looking all skinny and posts them on the internet. What? Is that true? Yeah. And then, people who feel sorry for us, crowdfunding? He said they're collecting money through that. Hey, what's that crowd something thing? Crowdfunding is gathering money from a large number of people via the internet. In other words, over the past 3 months, they had let their own children become thin and ragged, essentially exploiting the sympathy of others to swindle money. This made sense of why Michael had kept us from seeing the grandchildren for the past 3 months, and we were trembling with rage and shock. What on earth are those two thinking? Call Michael. Get him over here now. I tried calling him from my phone, but couldn't get through. How strange. Is he not at home? Hey, Alexander, do you know where they are? He said something about going to Hawaii and told me to make sure I take care of the housework. What did you say? Incredibly, they had left the children at home and gone on a trip. But Alexander said he wasn't told anything more detailed than that. We might find something if we go to their house. Let's check it out. Anthony drove us, with Alexander and Lily, to their house, using the key Alexander gave us to get inside. The room was still a mess, with hardly any space to walk. We searched for a path, pushing aside the clutter as we went. Then, Anthony shouted, "Hey! I found this next to the phone." In his hand was a piece of paper with dates, times, alphabets, and numbers written on it. Could this possibly be? When I searched the characters on my phone, they turned out to be the airline and flight number, as expected. That meant the dates and times were likely when they flew to Hawaii and when they were scheduled to return. From there, we figured out they were returning the next day at 4 p.m. Fueled by anger, we decided to prepare to confront them for what they did to our grandchildren. We decided to stay in their house for the time being. After making a delicious meal for the grandchildren, Alexander, tears streaming down his face, devoured his food, saying, "It's good, really good." While Lily also munched away. Watching them, we couldn't help but tear up ourselves. After shower and putting the grandchildren to bed, I contacted someone on my phone. I will never forgive Michael and Lisa, just you wait. Then, at 4 p.m. the next day, the 4 of us were at the airport. In the lobby, people were joyfully reuniting with those who came through the exit. Among them, Anthony and I waited with furrowed brows. Soon enough, Michael and Lisa emerged through the gate, leis around their necks, looking very much the part of Hawaii returnees. Welcome back. Seems like you had a fun trip? What? Why are you here? Upon seeing us, Michael and Lisa started to turn around and leave. But Anthony grabbed their shoulders tightly and wouldn't let go. Let's hear what the two of you have to say. Hey, let go, stop it. While Michael struggled, Lisa cried, "Someone, please help," causing a commotion. Initially, we thought to discuss this somewhere else, but we ended up confronting them on the spot due to the scene they were causing. Michael, we've heard everything from Alexander. It seems you've been quite harsh on them. What? Alexander, you snitched to Grandma. Quiet. Alexander flinched as Michael lunged at him, but Anthony didn't allow it to happen. Anthony grabbed Michael by the scruff of his neck and yanked him back, causing him to choke and let out a ska. Crying, Lisa begged, "Please stop, Anthony, Megan," and soon enough, onlookers began to gather. I took a deep breath, and with a voice loud enough to echo throughout the area, I exclaimed. Making the children do all the housework while you two go off on a trip to Hawaii is unacceptable. Why didn't you take them with you? Well, that's because. He stumbled over his words, his face drenched in nervous sweat. If you can't answer, I will. Let's see here. Please extend your love to children struggling for their daily bread. Donate through this site. Mom, please stop. Is this the webpage you created for fundraising? I shoved my phone screen in front of Michael's face. It displayed the crowdfunding site created by them. Prominently featured were pictures of a gaunt Alexander and Lily, whom he carried on his back. To top it off, there was even a video of Alexander pleading, "I'm hungry, please donate." Michael was utterly shocked. Why, how? Mom, you're not usually into the internet, right? True, but I can still ask a friend who's savvy about these things. Damn, so that's it. This page has spread quite a bit, and even a friend of mine knew about it. Yes, the person I had contacted last night after putting the children to bed was a female friend of mine who is proficient with the internet. When I realized my grandchildren were being exploited for crowdfunding, her face immediately came to mind. After sending Alexander's photo to my friend for confirmation, as expected, I received a reply saying, "I remember seeing this child. And I even made a donation. You didn't want to let go of the children because they bring in money. But taking them on a trip would expose the lie. So it was more convenient for you to go to Hawaii by yourselves, right?" Yeah, that's right. He frowned and looked down, falling silent for a while. Then suddenly, he began to chuckle, his shoulders shaking. You might not know this, Mom, but everything on a site, photos, and videos, can all be deleted with the click of a button. That's the internet for you. Michael. How rotten can you get? Don't worry, I'll clean it up later, too bad for you. Despite Anthony's scolding, Lisa caused a commotion again, saying, "Violence isn't good, I think." I felt so disheartened I almost sighed. Look, Michael. If you had admitted and shown some remorse, I might have considered being more lenient. Hey, what are you going to do, Mom? You really think I haven't thought of any countermeasures? But guess what? My friend has already taken screenshots of the site and saved all the images and videos. Michael looked puzzled and then his face turned pale. Ah. When Anthony let go, Michael collapsed to the floor, unable to stand. Michael seemed unable to stand, crawling on the floor and clinging to my feet. Wait, Mom, please. Let's talk this over calmly. I'm perfectly calm. What are you planning to do with those saved images and videos? No, don't tell me, please just spare me that. You know what kind of position I'm in. Right, Mom? Michael apologized profusely, and Lisa added, I told you we should stop. However, Michael forcefully grabbed her, despite her reluctance, and said, just apologize, will you, making her apologize as well. It's too late now, look around you. When they timidly looked up at my words, they both widened their eyes in shock. That's because the crowd of onlookers surrounding them had all aimed their phones at the couple. Michael exclaimed, whoa. Stop it, don't film, as he hurriedly covered his face with his hands, but it was too late. We're cutting ties with you, and we'll take Alexander and Lily. You don't deserve to be parents. With a firm stance, I left the airport with my grandchildren. Later, videos taken by the onlookers spread. A friend who had seen the site posted the truth while protecting the children's privacy, and Michael and Lisa's lies were exposed, leading to a massive backlash against them for fraud. Moreover, this reached Michael's company, which dealt with children's products, and he was immediately fired. With their faces fully exposed in the spread videos, they had nowhere to turn. Meanwhile, we filed a lawsuit to permanently revoke their parental rights. The lawsuit was successful, and we were officially granted custody of the grandchildren. Since the incident, the children have grown very fond of Anthony, and he adores them. The sound of happy children fills our home, and I am truly content.